Once adopted by Dr. Qiang, Qiang prayed daily, and 3 years later, Qiang was indeed returned by Dr. Qiang. Now, Qiang still prays for Qiang, but for him, the outcome is no longer important, and the two simply walked out of the church. Qiang drove Qiang to the hospital, half threatening and half begging his wife, telling her that as long as she took good care of Qiang, that video on the hard drive. Otherwise, Qiang didn't continue. He had no idea Qiang had just scammed away $10 million. Just planning to flee abroad, Qiang soon returned to Qiang'an's, hearing Lucy complain as he entered. "Why didn't you bring back burgers?" Qiang could only say he forgot. Qiang called Fatty, asking him to come over. He had something very important to discuss, and he casually asked Fatty to bring 3 burgers. Soon enough, Fatty arrived in a hurry. "Hands up!" Roy yelled. "Why are the hands up? Why don't you come hit me?" "Fatty, relax a bit," Qiang said. Qiang isn't aggressive. They were munching on the burgers. Qiang asked Fatty to check the surveillance near Dr. Qi's house on May 20. That was likely the actual time of the incident, and Fatty swapped some clues. Yesterday, old Qiang called to ask when the case would be wrapped up. He wanted his laptop back from Dr. Qiang. Suddenly, Lucy said she wanted to return to a familiar place, hoping to recover her memory. Qiang, eager to crack the case, immediately agreed. The next day, Fatty, risking suspension, brought the keys from Dr. Qi's house, and Ajay's underlings filmed the whole scene. After all, Lucy was still a child, so to avoid any psychological trauma, Qiang meticulously cleaned up the blood in the house before returning her to family. Lucy recalled many old memories. That night, an unexpected guest arrived at Zaya's hospital room, and Qiang pushed it. He asked what they wanted. Ajay's demand was simple: find Dr. Qi's laptop and the $10 in deal would be done. Qiang could finally spend quality time with his daughter without hiding anymore. He had no choice but to silently agree. The laptop Ajay wanted has now fallen into Lucy's hands, and Fatty, while stealing the keys, also discreetly took it out. Lucy searched computer files all morning, but failed to find Dr. Qi's data. As Qiang recalled, Ajay took his pendant, which might contain it. Just before bed, Qiang suddenly asked Lucy if her memory had returned, and she countered with a question to Qiang. "Why do you cling so tenaciously to my memories?" Qiang interrupted the conversation and advised Lucy to get some early rest. The next day, Fatty told Qiang that if he wanted to visit Zaya in the hospital, he could help arrange it. Qiang recalled his promise to his daughter to be her first sight after surgery, but failed. Little Lucy felt a bit jealous. After this was all over, Qiang would be back with his daughter, and she would be left all alone. Not to mention the $120 billion inheritance left by Dr. Qiang. What a bleak future. Qiang saw what Lucy was thinking and invited her, his new daughter, to the hospital. After hearing this, Lucy walked into the cloakroom and pulled out a limited. She intended to give it to her sister. At the police parking lot, Qiang's colleagues checked the pre- and post-incident surveillance. They found Uncle Yuan visited Dr. Qi's at 1 a.m. May 20. At the time, they had watched this video and didn't think anything was off because Uncle Yuan was only helping to upgrade the surveillance equipment. However, they found out that Uncle Yuan withdrew a large sum of $50 million from the bank on May 24. This was quite unusual. Qiang asked her colleagues to send the video to the National Search Department for a detailed check, and meanwhile, Zaya finally got to see her dad. The father and daughter embraced tightly, while little Lucy stood by, feeling a bit lost, both envious and jealous. But Qiang was indeed a living father. It wasn't until Zaya asked that Qiang introduced Lucy as her sister. He couldn't stay long. Just then, he ran into Qiang, who had just returned from the restroom, and the couple gazed at each other, speechless. Qiang arrived at the detention center, placed the surveillance screenshots on the table, and asked Uncle Yuan why he visited Dr. Qi's house late at night. Uncle Yuan shot back with a one-liner, saying he was there to remove the surveillance equipment, then stood up to end the meeting. Qiang asked Uncle Yuan, considering he had a medical license, why he waited until now to seek revenge. Uncle Yuan left the visitation room without answering. Lucy returned home and asked Qiang which room Zaya would prefer. She wanted to redecorate the house a bit. Qiang didn't reply. He called Lucy to the study and opened the video. "I don't want to watch," Lucy rejected. "I have no reason to." Qiang squatted down. "Seriously?" he asked Lucy. "Have you ever tried?" Unexpectedly, Lucy pushed Qiang away and lay down in her room. Qiang followed her into the room, asking if she had seen the video before. Lucy had indeed seen it already. She knew Qiang's wife had been to their home, and her memory had returned, but for Qiang's sake, she didn't want to reveal the truth. Just then, a siren suddenly blared outside, and both the big and little ones ran to the window, realizing that police cars had surrounded the place. Fatty and Qiang rushed over. "I don't want to talk anymore. I don't want to talk anymore." he shouted. He just didn't want to talk anymore. Batty and Qiang rushed over. They bumped into Qiang's old partner, who had just received a tip from eager civilians that the kidnappers and hostages were in the villa. Just as Qiang was about to speak, he was cuffed by the other party. Inside, Lucy was frantically packing her things. She told Qiang to get ready. The villa had a back door leading into the mountains, but Qiang didn't want to run anymore. These days, Lucy followed him everywhere, facing too many risks. At this rate, something would go wrong.